welcome everybody to another episode of the You Can't Make This Shit Up. I love the fact that we have the opportunity, David Washington, Joel Hoxley here with Jay in Washington. This is a Jay in Washington production. I thank John from Seventh Legion Media. I can't do this without you, and all of our team for staying up late last night for our special episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. But David, we're going to start out. You said it's going to be easy. You're going to be easy on me first thing in the morning. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, so this topic is going to be a little controversial, and it's
No.
a issue that is facing not just Orange County public school system, but many of the school systems here in Florida. The Orange County School Board recently adopted its annual proclamation. This is 4 years now. Its annual proclamation designating October as LGBTQ plus Awareness and History Month. This initiative, aimed at fostering a welcoming and supportive environment for gay and transgender students, was met with criticism from conservative board member Alicia Farrant. Farrant objected to the plus symbol in the proclamation, arguing that it encompassed various sexual ideologies and perversions. She believed that the proclamation was an attempt to normalize sexual promiscuity and sexual ideations among young students. So here we go. Let's go, Joel. Um, and before we jump into this, there is a statement in this particular Orlando Sentinel article, a statement made by board member Karen Castor Dental, who, by the way, is running for Orange County Supervisor of Elections in the November 2024 election. But this is what she said in reference to the killings at Pulse, which many of the members believe make this proclamation all the more important because, according to Karen Castor Dental, quote, because one individual had so much hate for the LGBTQ community, it's important that we take a stand. So let me just address that part, then we could get into the plus symbol issue. If I understand correctly, reading the articles, the trial transcript, and the actual FBI information that was made public, Mateen, and the trial was of his wife, but Mateen, the killer of the Pulse massacre, did not specifically target the Pulse nightclub because of its LGBTQ clientele. The Pulse nightclub was particularly targeted because it lacked the security that would be able to repel an attack that Mateen was planning. He scouted other locations like Disney and realized that the security was too effective, too what's the word? The security was a deterrent to what he had planned and carried out at the Pulse nightclub. So I just want to put that out there and dispel some of the misinformation. This is based on the FBI case into the killings and the information that I reviewed on my own in regards to this matter. So,
Well, this is
hey,
a winning. This was the winning argument for the liberals against John Micah. The the claim to fame of Stephanie Murphy is really tied into the Pulse nightclub. So again, I come from the same perspective that okay, Disney Springs was on the list, right? Disney Springs, easy, open, okay, it looks great, but then all of a sudden you say, you know, I can't get everybody will spread out, this security. So you'll go to another location. This was well thought out. Um, these locations, don't know if it was a second location on his list or whatever, but it was it was perfect for the fact that it only had one way in, one way out. There was no way that had enough security. And once he was in there, he knew he had a captive audience, right? Um,
Correct.
it was Hispanic. The reason there were so many Hispanics is just because it happened to be catering to the Hispanic LGBTQ community that evening. Uh, how, did he know that? I would say that there was no evidence that he knew that.
Right.
Um, so as far as I agree with you there, but whether we have, why do, I think Farrat kind of makes a good point, but why do we put so much effort into normalizing uh, anything sexual in our school system? Why at this point are we even addressing this or putting so much emphasis into it? It just supports, you know, we don't do this for Christian studies. We don't do this for Muslim studies. We have small portions in our textbooks, and there should be small sections about the LGBTQ community at Stonewall. I mean, talk about Stonewall. I have no problem with that, but
I
that's
agree.
that's that's where we should be talking. We shouldn't be taking Pulse and putting it in Stonewall in the same sentence. So I'll back off on that for a second. But that's what I feel. You know, we're not teaching people. We started teaching sex in school, and all of a sudden now we need to teach sex in every different direction, moral or immoral.
Right. And this proclamation, it's been done annually for the last 4 years. So this has been around. This is nothing that has been part of our tapestry of educational history. You and I are, of course, much older than any grade school student or high school student, whatever. You have grandchildren in the Florida school system. I do not. However, coming from my own experience, I remember being in class and, every February was Black History Month, and it was the regurgitation of the same Black heroes that were taught to us year after year after year. It wasn't until I was out of grade school, out of high school, and on my own that I did my own research and looked into my own past and history as a Black American and learned more about the diverse contributions by the Black community to America. Some of my heroes, like Jacob Lawrence, the painter, Frida Kahlo, the painter, um, James Baldwin, the author, um, or Billie Jean King, the tennis player, are gay or lesbian or bisexual. And I learned that in high school, college, as a young adult, and I enjoy their work and appreciate their work and share their work with my friends and family and anyone who's interested in listening,
Mhm.
um, and appreciate that. I I was offended by Black History Month because it should be taught year round, and I'm a little offended or just kind of taken aback. I think taken aback, like, why another month of celebrating um, diversity when we're doing that every day with today is such and such day or this month is such and such day. Can we just celebrate these things and point these things out, like what happened at Stonewall, throughout our history, throughout the year, and not just have to make it a big deal,
It
big
should be
proclamation.
taught. It should be taught in the whole, not in these sections, right?
Well said. Well said.
We we have a great history, and we have a very negative history that has made us a better country. And if we look at it, if we look at it as a whole, these things have happened to make us better people, to make us a more understanding people. Slavery is a torture, is a terrible thing, and that there's nothing about slavery that you could ever console. But to know that it was defeated here in the United States, and it actually created a war. The ultimate sacrifice was made to eliminate this evil, but our country moved forward. Then we moved back again, all right?
Mhm.
Just like in the Bible. So you have repentance, right? Repentance means turn around. Every time we face not facing the reality, we do the mistakes again. And that brings us to Jim Crow and all the stuff that happened in the South, right? Because we ignored what these people went through. They were getting more power, and then we go. See, I didn't say that way. This population was mistreated, and then mistreated again because they were they were interfering with the status quo, right?
Mhm.
And
I
we have
agree.
to push back on the status quo sometimes.
And to take the slavery piece a little bit further, personal experience, it's very frustrating. The education I have, and I had uh, I had private school education, and my formative years in grade school and junior high, it was private Catholic black education, which covered a lot of the math and reading and all that kind of good stuff. But what frustrated me as I got older, we talked a lot about slavery, slavery, slavery. However, we did not take it further to talk about how slavery, excuse me, how slavery um, was, how it led to where we are right now. Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and just things like that. There wasn't that link made. Maybe that was the day I was at home or something sick. I don't know. I missed that.
No, David,
But it wasn't that connection. Those connections weren't made.
I don't think you missed anything because there is nobody teaching
Yes.
how that transition
Thank you.
happened because you know nobody today we're talking about taking statues down and all this other stuff
Hmm.
because we don't even know about Reconstruction. What was Reconstruction?
Right.
How did all of a sudden, you know, the black free blacks, with education, ended up getting into the Congress? Right? They were
Right.
mistreated in Congress too, but they
Exactly.
had the first black caucus. The first black caucus was all Republican
That's correct.
because the Republican Party, they trusted the Republican Party for what they'd gone through, right?
Hmm.
Did they That's how party loyalty happens. Something, something you do benefits a group of people, and they take interest in your party and your politics.
Right.
And that's why we change throughout the time. But for me, that's a point that makes me want to be a Republican. And when I see certain discriminatory statements and stuff, it generates some feeling, which I don't. I try to stay as logical as possible. Creates feeling about where have we gone, where astray, like
Right.
always.
With the LGBTQ um, plus appreciation and history month acknowledgement, I would like to see where we got from Stonewall and before that, but Stonewall to where we are right now. If there was, like you said, that collective history taught, if we know the history, if we understand the history and have honest conversations about it, maybe we wouldn't have this division in our culture. And I just want to go back to board member Alicia Farrant. I do take issue with, and I saw the video of the board meeting. I did watch it, and I did watch her read her statement, and I understood what she was saying. However, it came across as disingenuous
Mhm.
because she was reading it and the tone came off as cold and not understanding. It just came off as very cold. And I think if the presentation was a little bit better, if she spoke from her heart and in her statement, she talked about her concern for our children, but it didn't come off as genuine. If she spoke from her heart instead of from a written statement that she read and did not address directly to the audience, I think maybe there would have been
Right.
a little softening of the reaction.
I think that's fear, David. I think that's fear. I think that you have somebody who's going into a tough subject, and what they do is they get totally inundated on making sure they don't miss the words, so then they lose that heart and soul. And if you do it by heart and soul, everybody's afraid that you're going to say something that's even worse
Mm.
in the offense category. Just look, if you're passionate about it, say your passion and be done with it. If
Right.
it doesn't come across the way you needed it to, then the reason it didn't is because everybody thinks differently about the words that are coming out of your mouth. And people did there too. Even though you said the right words, that you said the right words to your audience, but you didn't do it with feeling and heart. You couldn't bring anybody from the other side over, so you accomplished nothing.
Right. And I get what she says. I mean, how often do we have the conversation about, okay, what is the plus? In some circles, they say, okay, it's the alphabet community, and it just seems to grow the the
Well,
the inclusionary. Uh, I don't know what to call it.
look at you're doing you're saying the exact right thing. You have the flag, right? It's
Correct.
the rainbow flag.
Right.
Then we put the plus there. What does the plus do? Well, we have to represent black and brown, and we need to represent, trans. We need to represent everybody.
I
All of a
thought that
sudden,
was the American flag.
that all of a sudden the flag has this other shape to it, and it now it makes sense to somebody, but doesn't make sense to everybody. The American flag, just like you said, that is us uniting. That's the
Yes.
plus. We are a united country. Sure, we don't agree on everything, but that what makes us even more powerful is because we get into real debate. If we get in real
Right.
debate, where does it lead? To solutions. Last
Right.
night's debate didn't bring out any solutions because we're so divided.
Correct.
We need to start, I think I agree. We need to start looking at the plus, eliminating the plus, and putting it back into the hands of the United States. Let's become united once again.
I agree.
So,
I agree. And my final word on this, I understand uh, the point that Alicia Farrant is making. She did ruffle some feathers with her particular statement about leather, identity. Wow, she went out there. There is some legitimate concern about what are we including in this all-encompassing plus symbol. I get it. On the flip side, I understand that on the liberal side to Farron's conservative side, I see their response as um, as legitimate. However, this is an opportunity to continue to have dialogue and conversation. Um, how it was said and the manner it was said is one thing. I believe that there is opportunity to still have a conversation, and I believe that this history should be appreciated throughout the year. And that I'm not too sure if you'll be able to read a book in the public school system anymore about some of the heroes I mentioned before who are just happen to be gay or lesbian or whatever. However, we need to have honest conversation and I've been in politics again for well over 30 years, and I've identified as a liberal for the majority of my adult life, and still do. And I would challenge anyone to have this debate with me about where this conversation is going, and how we can get to a place where we can have a logical fact-based conversation and not get the feelings and emotions in the way and walk out of that conversation with a better understanding of one another. There's room to improve on both sides.
well, my final word is, this is a subject that your our generation is right there in the middle of. We have a lot of people that this is the generation that could truly talk to this because we're at the transition point. So let's have that debate. Let's have those conversations. Carlos Gamo Smith, come talk with us. Come talk with us. We've invited you. We want somebody local who can talk to this issue. It'd be great to have a sit down just to say, hey, where are we with the LGBTQIA plus community? And go from there because that's his subject. And he can't say anything he wants about being, multi legislative person, but his main passion is in the community. So sorry about the noise behind me. My granddaughter's birthday is today. There's a lot of people just walked
Happy
in.
birthday!
So I was just absolutely smiling. She's 13. She's a teenager. So if anybody educates me on this issue, and I've talked about it in the past, it's the sit downs that we have together.
Right.
So
What's your
she's
granddaughter's name?
Rain is
Rain. Okay, this one's Rain.
yeah.
Should
So
we
Rain
sing her
is
happy
my
birthday?
oldest. We do that on another show. I can bring her on and sit her right here in the chair.
Excellent. Again,
Thank
happy
you very
birthday,
much.
Rain.
So uh, please like, share, hate us, whatever. Just engage with us because you're the audience that's going to help us innovate this community. You're the people that are making us better because you're teaching us how to engage in a whole different way. We win because you win.
We want you to be a commentator. Talk to us. Let's have a conversation and be a part of our community. Please like, share, and spread the word and hit the notification button so that you get all of our content. This is David and Joel from You Can't Make This Shit Up. Thank you, John, our producer. And this is a Jay in Washington production.